Good afternoon to my spirited living Facebook friends. Wonderful to be here with you again, and I'm reveling, I have to say. I'm looking behind my camera right now, my phone, that there's sun streaming in my window. I don't even have my ring light on, so a harbinger of spring, and it was 50 degrees out in New York City. So just saying, just a fun way to begin our dance with the Divine Feminine this week. And as you know, if you've been tuning in, we celebrate this regardless of our gender. We celebrate the presence and I feel like I've been saying this for 25 years, the reemergence of the Divine Feminine in so many ways in our lives. If we ever needed it, now is the time when we really do, when we really need to honor those classically feminine qualities that aren't always assigned to females, but the compassion and honoring our intuition and our deep emotions, our bodies definitely, our connection to nature. We need that collaborative spirit, and my hope is that by introducing you to some of these divinely feminine archetypes each week from all over the world, I try and mix it up a lot, that you'll see where you fit in and see where these qualities show up for you, or how you want them to, is maybe the way to put it. So I thought, in honor of Women's History Month, I will big surprise, I'm embracing not a singular goddess, but rather what I called, and have called for a long time, the four faces of the Divine Feminine. And it is something I've been playing with since I discovered the goddess, the Divine Feminine, back in the early 90s. And certainly there are many faces, there are many ways that energy shows up in the world, and there are goddesses all over the world in every tradition that represent the basic, well, I will say the basic four, because that's the way that I was taught. Hello, Jennifer. And but it has been expanded to four faces of the Divine Feminine from three. Traditionally in women's spirituality, the Divine Feminine has been portrayed as maiden energy, mother energy, and crone energy. And as we've gotten older, as we've lived longer, as our health has gotten better, humanity in general, there's really room for another face, another archetype to fit in between the mothering. And remember, that doesn't just mean biological mothering. It can be creating of any kind, creation of any kind, but fitting in between the mothering time and the crone time, the wise woman crone time. And that has been, when I first started learning all this stuff and studying all of this work with the goddess and the Divine Feminine, I was taught originally with those four faces, with maiden, mother, and then the third face, before we get to wise woman crone, has been called many different names. Amazon, Queen, Guardian, Donna Hennes, check her out, Hennes, has written a wonderful book, Queen of Myself, and talks about the years of moving into your sovereignty. What's another? A Guardian, Joan Borisenko. And I actually quote her, one of the very first articles I wrote, I think I was past my master's work that I was doing on all this stuff, feminist psychology, women's spirituality. I was doing all that in the mid-90s, and one of the very first articles I wrote was The Four Faces of the Divine Feminine, and quoted Joan Borisenko in there. She has a wonderful book called Woman's Book of Life, or something like that, where she talks about the expansion of our lifespan, the fact that electric lights, we aren't in the dark as we were millennia ago when the original archetypes of maiden, mother, and crone were magically sort of unfolded, and she called that place Guardian. So, and I kind of put a couple together. I call it Amazon Queen, because I think that particular stage is that represents, you can bring in a little bit of everything with that archetype. So as you can imagine, the maiden time is, and all of these are connected to our menstrual cycles. the blood mysteries, as they were called. There's some wonderful books. Woman's Mysteries was written by a Jungian, oh my goodness, whose name is totally escaping me right now. It'll come to me. In like the 50s, talking about one of the ways that we can articulate how we move through these stages in a linear way, and like so many things feminine, it's not always linear. That the maiden point is at the point that we are at menarche, that we have our first blood. Mothering time is when we are fertile, when we're ovulating, and those years when we are fertile, typically up until your perimenopause, which is in your 40s, which we look at that being kind of Amazon queen time. And then Cronedom, and I say wise woman crone because people still have a lot of stuff attached to the word crone. I won't go into all of that right now. I teach this. I do like a separate class on each one of these faces, and I've taught full day and half day workshops on this. And Barbara Bijou and I we're gonna do something. What did we call it? Igniting Your Goddess Wisdom, where we were going to talk about these 4 faces. So I'm cramming it into my typical 12, 15-minute thing that I do here these afternoons. So if you want to learn more about these 4 phases and these 4 stages, this article that I wrote 20-something years ago, for the first time, I posted it as a blog on my website, and I'll put the link to that afterwards in the comments. There's also a wonderful article that I wrote a couple years ago about just very simple suggestions for how you can honor each one of these stages with a ritual. And I'll also post the link for that as well. My book, the one that I co-wrote with 2 of my dear coaching friends, which is called The Authentic Woman Playbook, 13 Faces of the Divine Feminine or something. That has it's a seasonal book, and that brings you through the 4 faces as well. So as I said, there are many more than 4 faces. This is a wonderful book as well. And it's coming through backwards because that's the way Facebook Live is set up. But it's called The Woman's Wheel of Life. And it's actually 13 archetypes, and she divides them into 4 archetypes of 3, starting with innocence, which is the maiden energy that we think about, innocence and playfulness and curiosity, and think of that youthful energy when we think of maiden time. Nurturing is what she labels the mothering time. So the mother energy, the mother archetype in the 4 faces is nurturing, compassionate, how we midwife other women, or works of art, or our own children. As I said, it's not just about being a biological mother. That mothering energy, those years are very fertile on many levels. And then she goes on the other threesome. She talks about power. And Amazon, Queen, Guardian, is a time, and I love the way that Joan Borisenko puts it. She said those are the years, the Amazon Guardian, she calls it Guardian years, are when our testosterone is kicking in and the ballsy hormone, as she calls it, comes up. And we're really, Donna Hennis talks about it in her wonderful book, The Queen of Myself. We're really standing in our own power in many ways. And then the final one is wisdom, which is the Crone energy. So that's another one to look at. As I said, I'll post all of these. The article that I wrote itself, I just pulled it up. I've done so many versions of this. So I'll just, I gave you a couple keywords for a few of them, but maiden is new beginnings. It's virgin energy, meaning, and the ancient meaning of virgin is woman who is one unto herself. Daughter, menarche, it's dawn, spring, blossom, waxing moon. There's actually a wonderful, I'm pretty sure it's in the Authentic Woman Playbook, a dear friend of mine who was no longer with us created these wonderful mandalas. This is my colored in version of the four faces. Am I holding it the right way? No. Okay, so Maiden is up here. Nope. I gotta take another look at it. Okay. Maiden is up here. Mother is here holding the baby in her lap. She's upside down. There's Amazon going full steam ahead. And there's the Crone wisdom over here. And I believe that's in. And if it's not, I'm happy to send you. You know, if you DM me, I can send you the mandala if you want to color in that mandala. If you want to color in those four faces. And hey, Ingrid. So let's see. I took you through Maiden, just some of the keywords. Mother, fullness, midwifing, as I talked about. It's pregnancy, childbirth. It's creativity. All of these can be equated to a season. This is like the summer season. I teach about this when I do my year-long program. Supportive, enveloping, radiating. Amazon energy. Power, queen, priestess. We've talked about this. And enchantress. This is the perimenopausal time. Harvest, fall time. This is kind of getting towards evening and twilight. Intuitive, restless, and then Crone energy, wise woman Crone energy, is obviously wisdom, the sorceress, the dark mother. These are the places in Crone energy, we go deep into these places. And it's alchemical and transmutational. So the thing that I always say, and you'll see in the blog that's on my website, is that we all hold all of these within ourselves. Oh, Serpentessa, oh my gosh. And check out Serpentessa. I just mentioned you last week, I think, Serpentessa, when I was, we did Hygeia last week, and I talked about snakes and you. Check her out too, everybody. So we all embody all of this energy within us all the time. So if you're a maiden, you could still, have a lot of wisdom and tap into your inner wisdom. If you're an Amazon, you can tap into that creative part that represents the mother archetype. If you're a Crone, you can go to the playground and swing on the swings, or, play with your granddaughter or grandson, and that's the playful mother energy. So think with all of these. I don't think I've ever done such a fast overview of these four things. These four beautiful, beautiful faces of the divine feminine. So embody them yourself, play with them yourself, learn what you can. And I will, I have this wonderful, there's really, so this, there, can you see it? This is, there aren't really a whole lot of Native American goddesses per se, but this, some of my women gave this to me years ago that were in one of my programs. And it brings in, and this is the triple goddess, it brings in Maiden, Mother, and Crone. The Maiden is the Oneida Maiden Warrior, Alacapicio, I think was her name. The middle one, and she's up there looking very sprightly. The middle one is a full-breasted, ready to nurse her children, Pueblo Mother Goddess, who represented corn and rain and helped connect the tribe to the earth. And then the bottom one, the Crone, I don't know how well you can see her, with her tobacco leaf crown. She was grandmother spider from the Pueblo Native American tribe. And she was this magical crone. So that's the one image I have of the three of them. There's not an Amazon in there. So the last thing, and I have, if you're curious, reach out. We can do a session together. I'll introduce you to chants, to energies, to meditations, to all kinds of things that represent all of these four faces of the divine feminine. And the last thing I will do is to leave you with a chant that when I first learned it was just four faces. Three faces was just the Maiden, Mother, Crone. And of course, I had to add the Amazon, or Queen. How did I talk about her being Queen in this one. So I'll share this with you, and you can go off singing it for the rest of the day and come back and listen to it. It goes... A woman is a maiden starting new, growing into motherhood, leading to the power of the queen blazing deep within, dancing where the wisdom of the crone begins. A woman is a maiden starting new, growing into motherhood, leading to the power of the queen blazing deep within, dancing where the wisdom of the crone begins. A woman is a maiden starting new, growing into motherhood, leading to the power of the queen blazing deep within, dancing where the wisdom of the crone begins. So just take a moment to embody. Think about where you are in embodying this energy. Are you feeling in your life in general very linearly in one of those stages, maiden, mother, Amazon, queen, wise, woman, crone? Or where are you feeling today? Where do you want to tap into? What energy do you want to embody? Knowing that you hold all of them within you all the time. So when you want to connect with them all, sing that lovely little chant and reach out, connect, and I'll send you what I can and we can talk some more about it. Thank you so much for being with me, and we're moving closer and closer to spring. I think Persephone might be up next week. So thanks so much for being with me, and have a wonderful week. Namaste.